Okay, so we can get going. Please have a seat. The speeches were very exciting, I must say. And I learned a lot today. Okay, can you do better now, right? Yeah, so I got to learn a lot today. Sabrina and Bruce surprises me every time with new depth. It feels like Singapore has many layers. Sometimes you feel that it's magic when you come to this country and you see all this. You come to this garden, right, and you see how did they do it? Right? What's the secret, right? The reality is 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration. It's a lot of hard work that I see. This thing, perseverance, logic, combined with magic. Right? So, magic. I like the magic term. So yeah, I must say I feel I've been here in this country for many years and I enjoy it. But obviously, when you get talking about this comes, just as a disclaimer, we were supposed to show a number of presentations from abroad, but we will post those online. So we have a great speaker from the area where the next event will be with Sandals Corporation. They are fantastic users of hospitality. So we're going to show that next time. We had some great speakers from Europe, from Portugal, where there's a polytechnic that uses culture therapy. We had also one of the ministers from Ethiopia that is landing actually that recorded a presentation. We use this initiative for a national rollout, which is pretty impressive. I believe we also had, so there were months of South Africa, etc. So keep in mind, see those. We will post a session after this where you can enjoy that and with other references. But now let's go to the question. And again, rather than me asking a lot of questions, I'm sure you have a lot of questions. So I think you probably want to ask here the audio or the speakers. So I'll start with provoking questions because I want to get a little bit of fire. So if you look at I'm debating whether I talk about key challenges first or yeah, I think I'm going to go for that. Given this rapid pace of technology change, how can we ensure that all the skills that you teach today remain relevant? Now, to a large extent, you have answered part of that in the presentation, but I want Sabrina to go a little bit more in depth in that.
Of course, we know that whatever we teach careers and education depends on the current job demand, but we also look into the future. So what we have done is that we teach them core skills, and we also teach them transferable skills. In fact, to be very frank, we have done employer survey. The employers tell us that technical skills they don't have to worry because we can actually teach them on the job. But what is important, we want them to have some thinking skills, some problem-solving skills, and also good attitude and communication skills. So these are what we call the soft skills, the transferable, employable life skills. So this, in fact, it's about 20% of our curriculum is focused on such employable skills. So if we teach them fundamental skills, when technology changes, they're able to navigate, they're able to adapt. So the adaptability is actually a key attribute which we want to instill in all our students.
Thank you for that. Now, from Bruce, you know, in Europe, I'm Swedish, although I lived for 7 years in the US. And as you know, in Europe, we have focused a lot on ethical consideration, the dangers that AI may, impact our societies and changes. We may be very efficient, but we may be also rendered useless, right? So everything is perfect, but we forgot about the humans. So my question to you, given this, how do you see the potential ethical considerations in implementing AI and XR technology that obviously are there, and how do you think ITE and Singapore should address those?
I think when it comes to ethical aspect of AI, I think they are very real. Like in all other technologies, they can be used for good, can also be used for bad. So I think the onus is on the government to come up with some framework, and maybe for AI, you need some global consensus on what is ethical, what is not. I think there's a chance that people can also swing to the other end to be so, risk adverse that they do not, tap the potential of AI. So that is my more worry than the other side. Of course, the ethical use of AI is still very important. Like, AI should not do harm. Very simple. And how you are going to implement it is for government to come out with frameworks, with laws to address that question. But the other flip side is that you are being so risk adverse that you cancel out all possibility of using AI to a certain extent, and then you lose out in that sense. So I think so that's where I think government have to strike the balance between the ethical use of AI and promote the good use of AI. One very good example is when ChatGPT came out. I think the initial reaction from universities is to say that we should ban this because they can plagiarize their work and in such a way that it's hard to detect. And then I think number of universities wanted to do that, but then there was a pushback. And then later on they discovered that actually they are more good than bad in using ChatGPT. And then now it's quite acceptable that people say, yeah, you can use ChatGPT for your whatever academic work, but there are some limitations in terms of and you need to have some control in terms of plagiarism and other aspects of the negative effect of ChatGPT. So I think it's like all other technology, there's always fear that comes along with a new introduction of a new technology. But I think we got to be more circumspect and look at it, from both sides and come up with the right balance.
Excellent. You can see that also legislation, US is pretty aggressive, moving forward, minimizing legislation. Europe is quite restrictive. And perhaps the Asian middle road between those two, the balance is going away. Now, Sabrina, you spoke very eloquently about the journey that Singapore has undergone these years, from the early years to where you are today. I know we have many people in the audience, maybe not physical, but many online, that maybe are in the developing country, in a place that Singapore was perhaps 50 years ago. If you were to give them some advice, let's say three low-hanging fruits, what they should consider if they want to adopt new technologies or overall in their journey, what would those be?
This was what you want to do, where you want to go. I think without a vision, you have no direction, it's difficult to achieve anything. So the vision is very important. Secondly, you must build the infrastructure. And then third, to me, is the staff. You cannot achieve great things if you don't have quality staff to deliver your quality programs. So I always emphasize on staff. I think the quality of the staff, the quality of the TVET system also depends on the quality of your staff. In fact, Singapore has always emphasized human capital development so that you are able to deliver quality education and training for the future.
Right. Makes a lot of sense. Now I have a question, and then I would actually want to go to the audience because you have questions. I know someone is eager, so Bruce to get that question. You talked a little bit about this, but how do you see the balance between human instruction-led activities and AI-driven learning? You kind of answer it by saying that I want to go probe a little bit further in the coming years. How do you see that coming evolving?
Actually, for a long time, I've been looking at immersive technologies and how to implement best learning outcome using immersive technology. And not all, learning need to be immersive. It must be appropriate, and, depending on the outcome of learning, assess, whether we should use immersive technology. But the problem for me is that for a long time, it's very costly, very time consuming, and I think with the advent of generative AI, in particular, spatial AI, I foresee that this will actually fundamentally change how we deliver lessons in the future. And when I say future, I think it's not too distant future, because it's coming here and now. We need to, and I can see the trend. There's always a trend in technology where you are very excited and then you come down, and then it's a boom and then a bust, but then we slowly build up. I think we are in that period of going up, and more and more people will be using such AI assisted, teaching and learning, technology going forward. So I believe that's the way to go in the future.
Yeah, no, for me, when I hear this, I think about Karate Kid. Let me take two metaphors. One is Aristotle, right? When he taught Alexander, he used a piece of clay or sand, and he was drawing with his hands, right? Strategy, philosophy. That was the tool. That was the leading edge. And I see this as tools, right? These are tools to empower the good teacher. So it's a H2O, human 2.0. We are evolving from, I think I'm human 1.3 right now, right? I have a phone. And if you take it away, I will not function very well. But I think with human 2.0, we'll be even struggle even more. So I think that marriage will be very useful. Sabrina, you want to add
Yeah, I
something?
want to say something because I'm a layman. I mentioned, to me, technology, AI, generally AI, whatever technology, it helps to integrate, supplement the teaching, but it can never replace the human teaching. So I think I can do the presentation that the teacher will create a magic, but not the technology. Technology can speed things up and be efficient, but it cannot replace it. Because I think, after all, with all these rapid changes, we need to teach our students, our future workforce to be human. I think that's very important. Because we will start to know that we all know that all of us on the phone understood that, but the human aspect, the human touch, I think to be this is still fundamental.
Absolutely. Going back to my Karate Kid, because I didn't explain that. If you remember the old universities, right? Bologna or Uppsala, where I come from, they were teaching. It was almost like going to church, right? The teacher was there and I was a product of that, and I had to listen. And that's the Western way of learning, right? The Confucius way of learning, the Karate Kid, when I'm actually creating a sandbox and the teacher is looking at me and I see what I'm doing and helps me and guides me. I think this technology offers a different type of pedagogical style, right? Where you don't preach, you allow exploration, you allow people to do mistakes, because that's life. Life is full, at least my life is a number of mistakes, and hopefully I learn from them not. But to allow them to do those mistakes and experiments in a safe way, with a knowledgeable guide. That, in my mind, is beautiful. It's the perfect combination of human with emotions, with empathy, with a machine that facilitates that process. And on that note, open up for questions. Any questions, please?
That's great. Very interesting. You know a little bit of IT, so I won't ask IT questions. I want to ask you, is that all right? And what I talk about was very interesting. Particularly where you ended that knowledge is human right. And in a sense, I see you talking about democratizing the acquisition of knowledge and learning. And be able to make sure that the world can benefit from this. Thinking about this, I also noticed that the technology, the partners that you have, are very much US centric. And given the politics that's going around, I wonder, and even China and India, these are big countries with a lot of people, so they have both. But given the international politics now, could there be issue at some point where, because you're drawing, as Pastor AI is drawing on knowledge based on around the world, there's some country, may say there should be restriction and that you're not supposed to work with certain people. It's already happened, for example, the US sanctioning Huawei and all that. Yeah, that would actually, in a sense, impact the vision that you have.
You're totally right? So it's interesting, and I need to say this as a full disclaimer, not a personal note. I'm very grateful for my education in Sweden. Also politically, I was a member of the Communist Party, so that's probably. I Vänsterpartiet kommunisterna for many years, so every time I come to China, they welcome me with open arms. Right? That was a problem though when you try to emigrate to US because you're there. Have you ever been a member of the Communist? And I didn't know, so I said, I would have said Switzerland, but I said yes, I didn't know there was a problem. Then there was a big problem. To discover that I sold my company for $512 million. Then they said, we want communists like you. But seriously, we believe in China. We believe, it's very natural, of course. And on a private note, just to also, I've been green card resident for 27 years, and I decided 2 years ago to give up my green card. So I'm now proud resident of Portugal. They offered me a tax-free environment there. And Sweden, as you know, has been always very neutral. We always on Arafat's side, not the Israeli. We were always on the wrong side of Vietnam with Palme. So I think my school is a neutral school. But even if I don't put any political colors and just objectively look at the world, when I grew up, it was the West and the rest. With all due respect, you guys were not considered. Now the world, I think we have the Prime Minister for Romania. He said something very wise. He said the Asians are dominating the manufacturing and dominating the lead in the world. The Americans still are clutching to their financial system that is scrapping and actually innovation. We have a lot of American companies because they are the best. Right? I don't get it. But and while Europe becomes a beautiful museum that everybody goes to dine. So the world is changing. And the realities of the world is that it is a shift to the global south. And that's why I'm spending so much time in Asia. That's why I'm spending so much time and honored in Africa. I've been probably to Africa 60 times because that's when China's demographic implosion will happen, is happening. The next is Nigeria and Ethiopia. The world is equal. So to answer your question specifically, we already have invested and with CNZD, which is the fifth largest Chinese company, they invested more than $6.5 million. We were invested in G3, $6.5 million. There's been an issue during the COVID, but because EON as a company is a Singaporean company, Swedish company, we don't see, we realize that the conflict is real, but we have a very balanced approach. Right? We love our American friends, love our Chinese friends, and we hope, we pray that this conflict that we suffer from all of us, from us now, is temporary nature, and we wise mind prevail and will become peaceful again. That's my hope.
So this is maybe a question to Ms Sabrina or Mr. Bruce. With technology like this, we free up our lecturers, our professors to do other things or do additional things, to do more other things. Where do you see that trajectory? What will our professors, our lecturers be doing in the future if not filling those advisory roles or being supported by AI as a tool in that space?
Without technology, the teachers are all running from help. That, in fact, to be very frank, for our teachers, they actually do spend a lot of time counseling students, giving advice, and they also work with industry to help industry solve some real work issues. So their time will be better spread out rather than just spending their time teaching. So with technology, they can sort of utilize their time in a more meaningful way and in a more balanced way. And at the same time, I think our teachers also have to continually learn. So if they are so busy teaching, they have no time to learn. So actually, with technology, to be very frank, it's not that they're free. Okay, they free up maybe some unproductive time to develop but they need to keep up some more changes in this.
Just to add on to what Sabrina has mentioned, I don't know whether you still remember the time when computers are introduced. Educators are like arm in arms, will this take away my job? But you ask the educators now to operate without computers, without internet, to be up in arms. So I hope, in the near future, you will say, take away AI, take away technology, they'll be up in arms. Maybe for the initial period, it's always difficult in the initial period for the transition, for educators, maybe, for anybody, to adopt changes. But once, you have a system that, bring them in, and the ITE has a great system to introduce, AI, using tools, technology, to aid educators, not to replace them. And they find that is an enhancement, is a aid to me. They are my co-workers. In robots, you have robots, you have cobots. Cobots are collaborating robots. So they help the workers. So if you have that kind of mindset, then I think you will go very far. And I believe that in the end, you still need educators, but educators who are able to harness the best in technology, the best in AI, or delivering better.
I want to add one more point. With all this AI technology, it actually helps lecturers to look smarter. And also because with all these available resources where they can do analytics with data, they can actually analyze whether the lessons are effective and whether the students are at risk and whether they cover the contents appropriately. So these are tools which were not available in the past. So in a way, technology helps them to work smarter and with insights. I think that is the key difference.
Yeah, it is.
Hello, I'm Mr. I'm medical trained as well as technologically trained. I got my first PC was X81. Sinclair, if anybody knows about that. Okay.
British.
Yes. And then the PC revolution comes in. And when I was in high school last time, I was interested in electronics. But I didn't I became interested in become an engineer. Instead, I become a human engineer. I'm already trained as well as sub-specialized in cancer study for orthopedics. So I've been teaching, I'm a teacher, educator in one of the university. And right, I just want to add to what our friend was asking about the new to, for example, family to all this to check for plagiarism, all these things. when my student, I always insist, send me a soft copy.
Is there a question at the end of the?
At the end, there will be a question to Sabrina. Okay. So it helps a lot. And as a student, a lot of time. For example, rare cases, for example, where that maybe the first time we encounter, we just ask the AI. Anybody doing this? How many cases? What have they done? Just a few weeks ago, one wearing double rackets, and then it's a lot. The only thing is just like what was said by Bruce, that there's apprehension of the unknown, fear of the ghost without seeing any ghost in their life. That's what I say. So I'm trying to get the educators to jump into this AI bandwagon to help us. And my question at the end is to Sabrina, because I always believe either it's software or hardware, it's not that important. The most important is the human. With AI, what I can see now, even the students, even the lecturers, all these things, too engrossed with the hardware and the software, and they lost their human. So, can you advise what are the things that we can do to overcome this?
I think during my presentation, I mentioned that ITE provides holistic education. So it's not only the different courses, but quite a substantial part of the different discussions, interaction, working with teams, doing joint project works with fellow students. And we also have activities like co-curricular activities, global education programs. The students are also, in fact, we send about 30% of our students to this service learning, to the attachment, to the industry experience. So these are activities which help balance rather than just sitting down to the work with the computer. So they do have a lot of activities, also recreation and social activities. I think those are very important. Even for IT, we have a fun IT where we have social activities for staff and students. So as an institution, we believe in providing holistic education. So we are not forgotten the students' side.
If I may just say, now when you use this entire computer, my first computer, I have to have cards, right? It was very cumbersome to communicate with that computer, because if I punch something wrong, it will not work. So I think the way I'm thinking about the future is that it's a bit like Avatar. You guys have seen that movie. In the Avatar, these foreign aliens, they communicate with nature. They don't have computers, right? So the computers that we have now will obviously shrink in the next 4 years. So they will be on our eyes, meaning that we will not have to stare at your grandson will ask, I saw movies from 2024. Everybody was like zombies staring at little screens, right? That will not exist. We will be immersed. The computers will be in the cloud. You will not notice anything. No one will push any cameras. We will be focused being human and we'll have guides. So I think the emphasis is to communicate, but also to unleash our fantasies, unleash our capabilities. Because today, if you have an idea, it will take there's a lot of friction to realize that idea. I think AI can help us. So I think that we are in a temporary valley, I hope. But the more important question is why? Because if we use this technology for bad things, right? Like TikTok, with all respect, American TikTok, not American TikTok, or things that are meaningless, that you look yourself in the mirror after being 8 hours in this environment and you feel not happy, versus meaningful things, right, that empower us and embrace our humanity. That's the question. The question is, well, how do we, the technology is technology, right? You can use it to do atom bombs, you can do it to do well for things. So I think that the technology will be invisible, we will have time to see each other in the eye and spend time with each other. But we have a challenge, and let's use it for the good. Now, the last question. I know the gentleman here had a question, so please, if you don't mind.
If you don't mind, then I just want to add just one point
Yes, of course.
to our friend from Malaysia. It's great that in the medical field that they are using technology as a tool to help your diagnosis or at least scan on all the virus diseases or it's a great tool. But you cannot lose the human touch, like you say. It's interesting that you look at jobs in the future. Many of the jobs will disappear, but the one that will remain are the ones that emphasize on human touch, the human emotions, and how we as humans do with others. That would not go away. So even when you read design of job, that human touch still needs to be there, and that's where we are still valuable. But of course, human touch with the aid of AI tools will definitely help. Thank you.
Thank you for the privilege of a last question. But actually, I did a couple of questions. First was something that may be of interest to guests from coming from more emerging countries. So, from the ITE perspective, how do you pace or calibrate the content and type of skill training with the jobs created? Do you train ahead of demand? Do you train very quickly in response to demand, or is that sort of lagging response, right? And maybe I'll start the second question as well. And it was very, very impressive demo. Tons of product related questions, but it was very impressive to see how it's ingesting all the textbook information and all that. But as we all know, the whole content of this forum is about AI impacting skills, right? And it's almost like how important do you think is the content or knowing the content versus actually training people to harness AI, and how you integrate that in your platform, right? Because those are almost like completely new types of content. Maybe it's pedagogical. I don't know if there's a textbook on how to use AI to accelerate the fixing of engines, for instance, or do remote surgery for that matter. So I'm just curious how EON Reality is dealing with something like this.
If I may answer the first question about the currency of your curriculum and how fast you can create a curriculum to meet the industry needs, you train in advance. Interestingly, in my previous life, I was with the Economic Development Board under the Manpower Development Mission. And EDB is an organization that attracts foreign direct investment. And before they invest, inevitably they will ask, do you have the skills manpower? And EDB in the 70s and the 80s has built institutions, like for example the Tata Government Training Center, Rolai Government Training Center, Philips Government Training Centers, big companies. And then with foreign governments like Japan, Singapore, Japan, Singapore Institute of Software Technology, the French Singapore Institute, the German Singapore Institute. These are institutions primarily to train the students to serve the industry that we want to attract. So it's like preempting what, and of course ED has a position to map out what industry they want, and in fact they use a system of putting all the students are under bond to EDB, the companies. They are training stipend are given to students, and they are wanted to EDB to serve companies that EDB assigns. So EDB will say, okay, this particular company comes in Singapore, he says I want 20, this graduates of this type. Then the institution already trained the graduates, and they will serve the industry for 2-3 years without their contract. But this one is I would say a commando style kind of training, because you must train in advance, not lagging, but in advance, so that but to be able to do that, you must map out what are the industry you want to attract. Having know what the industry you want to attract, you must know what are the skills needed for this industry, and you train for this industry before you're talking about training the trainees in this industry. So you need to have a advanced planning of probably 3 to 5 years at least, in order that eventually when they graduate, industry will need this people, and use that FDI investment to attraction for companies. I have quite a number of colleagues here who I attest to them. So maybe this is a short answer for that. But of course, current situation, you got to be very adaptive and agile, as I say, to know what the industry wants. A certain amount of crystal balling to give you some advance, notice of what are the trends coming, and change your curriculum on the board.
In ITEES courses, for the full time, we have about 100. So for pre-employment training, because you're training a well-rounded holistic future skill maker, so besides the technical career skills, you teach them other foundation skills, core skills, life skills, digital skills. So in terms of their career core, what we have done, we're building some white spaces where our lecturers supposed to actually work with industry, and then they do project work. So this is a way that they actually apply current skills and technology. And I shared a lot about working with employers and companies. So because of that, actually all our colleagues are very aggressive in working or maybe together with the industry players. So we try to co-create some of our curriculum and courses. So there's some white space to make changes, adapt. But I would say yes, the changes are very rapid. And then for teachers, in fact, we always train certain percentage, maybe 5 to 10% of our lectures should be ahead of the curve. Because we cannot be lagging, otherwise we cannot change.
Thank you. I'll try to be brief on the answers. So I will answer in learning, training, and performing, right? So you have a book. Let's say you want to, let's say medical, right? You want to learn about things related to healthcare. And you have a book about basic anatomy. The system is very well designed. So you read the book and you will see all the organs here in front of your eyes, looking at. Let's learn. And then you understand the context of the organ. The next aspect is training. How you to acquire those basic skills, and you need to apply them and train yourself in that scenario. It can be hard skills or soft skills. The hard skills is how do you insert the needle in the right way with the right angle in order to actually not harm the patient, but actually do it properly. And that's a skill that you have to learn. You have to train on. Now, augmented reality allows you to actually train that angle. In fact, in California, we were certified during COVID because you can use even your phone, right, and angle it, then you can let you know. And the other side on soft skills, you can say if you have a patient that suffers from Alzheimer's, right, and you are a young nurse, you have to interact with that person. How do you calm them down so they don't get excited? And you will have an Alzheimer's avatar that you can train again and again until you apply those skills. So that's learning, training. And then the last one is performing or applying in real life. So let's say that's how a ventilator works, that you have to, but that was 2020. And then we have a new sickness, I have a new pox is coming from, I think the health organization just declared it. So let's say that there's a procedure that you have to learn, but you have to practice that. You don't remember. So how do you, when you want to apply or that specific skill, then you can pick up your phone, have your avatar, an avatar right now, right there, show me. And it will reinforce that training that you already have conducted, or even upgrade. Or it's a new, you learn on a Swiss ventilator, but now you see that it's a ventilator from Singapore. That's not something you learn. You didn't acquire, they're not, you can acquire. So I think the beauty of simulation, I'm a simulator guy, not originally an AI guy, is it's well proven. Nobody would like to fly. If I give you an offer, okay, so you have an ex airline that you can see someone that read a book about how to do emergency landing. Then you have this group here that saw the YouTube video, and then we have this group here that actually landed 400 times in water with one engine off with bad weather. Which pilot would you choose? It's kind of evident, right? Not the TikTok one, not the book one, because the book one said, which page was it? And the guy that actually saw the movies was, okay, it was 1 minute 54 seconds, and while the person here that actually done it 400 times, he or she has muscle memory, pure lapid. Doesn't have to think, straight for it. It does it. That's how we work as humans. Whether it's 50,000 years ago when we killed the mammoth, or whether it's flying the next rocket to Mars. And on that note, I want to thank you guys. I know you have more questions, but here's the good news. This is not a one-time event. Thanks to ITE's generosity and hospitality, this will be a reoccurring event. I know that many people, they wanted to come today, couldn't make it. So after we confer here, we'll decide how often we'll have this. I want this to be something that Singapore can share with others. I know you're very willing to share, and your passion comes through, both of you. And I hope in our little way, our little company can contribute somehow to this. And yeah, we are a global community. Let's do it together. Thank you so much.